right, g'day, Stu here. Welcome back to Happy Flying, episode number 43. This is our weekly live stream, and I'm just thinking like that g'day is so integral to how I start all my videos, but over the last like 5 years or so, it turns out maybe I've become Americanized. I was like, howdy, howdy, like that's what I say most days. Anyway, welcome to Happy Flying. We're going to be talking a whole bunch of FPV stuff. Let's go through. I just do quickly want to check the audio, the microphone. Look at this, Johnny DRC. He's already on it. Big shout out to my members here. Thanks very much, Spruny. I don't know if that's actually how I'm meant to pronounce it, but thank you very much. Saying sound and video is great. Microphone is working. Everything looks like it is recording. So if you are new here, what this is our weekly FPV live stream. It is the best part of my working week. Wherever you are around the world, I want you to sit back, relax. We're going to be talking a whole bunch of FPV stuff. We're also going to be touching a little bit on mental health and have some answers, some beginner questions, do some deep dives about some new tech that's coming up in the FPV scene, and generally just have a good time for the next hour or so. So I just want to say thank you to everybody who is here. I feel like we have a really, cozy isn't the right word, but a really amazing group of positive people who are here week in, week out. And if that is you who tunes in each week to see what we're up to, or even if you watch it a little bit later, but you're always catching this sort of live stream review on YouTube, I want to say thank you because you are valued, you are special. And the most important part of this show, of this next hour is you guys. Never forget that. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I'm grateful to be able to be here, answer your questions, talk FPV, and just generally enjoy this hobby together, because I know what it's like. If you want to fly around, it can often feel a little bit isolating. You meet very few people in the wild that are into FPV as much as you guys probably are, so it's great to hear to have this community talk about it. But here we are. Let's go through what we're going to talk about. So I do want to touch a little bit about on mental health. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. We have some big news out of YMZ FPV. If you remember the Lightning V2, my all-time favorite drone, we have some pretty huge news actually coming out from those guys, and we might not hear too much from YMZ FPV in the future. So we'll be talking about that a little bit as well. We're going to be talking a little bit about DJI pilots. So if you're a DJI pilot and you're catching this, we've got some news for you and why you might want to move into FPV, because I'm seeing a lot of crossover, which is a good thing, I must say. Traditionally in the past, people the hobby has been a little bit defensive when it comes to DJI pilots, but it's moving more and more towards FPV. We're going to be answering your questions as well. We're going to be talking a little bit about FPV burnout, what it is, how to avoid it, and just how to keep enjoying FPV. We need to talk about this, which is, this is one of the ugliest drones I have ever built and ever seen, because this started out, it was meant to be a relatively simple project. This is the Sphere Link. This is, recently did a video on it, some HD digital for about $60, but you notice I've got 2 batteries on mine, like, it's a nightmare. We're going to be talking about that. The pros and the cons, a bit more of a deep dive answering some of your questions on that. We need to talk about the RunCam Wi-Fi as well, which is running Open IPC. I've got a whole bunch of goggles right here as well. So if you're a beginner and you've got some questions about which goggles should I get, or if you're already in the hobby and you'd like to upgrade, we're going to be going through some of those as well. I'm just catching up on chat a little bit. Of course, I can see some amazing people in here. We've got some tips to improve your flying. Man, I didn't realize I've got so much here. We need to talk a little bit about Rotor Riot, if you remember who they are. They've fallen out of fashion a little bit, but we're going to be talking about those a little bit. We need to start FPV properly. And then we're going to be jumping over also some DIY FPV news and all that sort of stuff. So generally, a pretty exciting stream. Wherever you are around the world, let me know what you're doing, what the time is, what beverage are you enjoying. And before we start, can somebody say, hey, Stuart, what do you have there? In the chat, I need you just to type, do me a solid and be like, oh, wow, that beverage looks very nice. Stuart, what is that? So you can get some extra bonus brownie points if you just type that in the chat right now for me. That would be very much appreciated. And the first thing that I want to start off, like our first official segment, I should just say, we always start with mental health, because this is the number one thing that I believe with FPV. It changes people's lives in such a positive way. And I have gone through some really dark times in the past. I suffered from depression. It really came out of nowhere. It really knocked me around. I've never experienced anything like it. And thankfully, I'm on the other side of that. I feel so much better and so much more positive in my day-to-day life. But I remember what it feels like to be down there and just not feeling great in myself. And that's why I dedicate this start of my stream. And I know it's not FPV related, and I know it's not popular for most of the FPV audience, but it is more important than anything. And I would like to let you people know, if somebody is watching this, just that one person who's watching this that I can connect with, I don't want you to feel alone. I don't want you to feel isolated. I know just how tough that it can be. And I want to let you know that you are valued, you are cared about, you are special, you are unique. And I'm really grateful that you are being here. So even if everything else is not going right in your life right now, I would just like to let you know, say, hey, thank you for turning up. I appreciate you and you for being here for that. So thank you. And I would also, like, I try to touch on a little bit of a topic about each one. My chairs, I think I need to get a new gaming chair here. Today, what I would like to say is like the stigma around medication, because if I forget some things, I get distracted in today's one. I take medication. So I didn't know that I had ADHD. It's a big, long story. We can get into it another time, but I might have forgotten my medication today. And the strange part is that when you've got ADHD, you forget so many things. And then I looked at my medication, and that medication, it does help me remember things, but then I don't know if I've taken it or not. So it's like this catch-22. I don't want to double up and take twice anyway, but I thought this might be a good little segment to let people out there know. Please don't feel ever ashamed or anything like that, that there is a big stigma for if people are taking antidepressants or taking some other medications for their mind. A lot of times people feel like they can't talk about that because people would judge them. And I'm here to say that in the past, I don't use them anymore, but I did take antidepressants for all, and they did help me get through those things. And I don't want other people to feel like they can't talk about that, because the stigma around it needs to go away. And they helped me. They made a difference in my life when I needed them. And if you are somebody out there who feels ashamed from taking medication that's been prescribed to you from a doctor, please don't feel that shame. There's nothing wrong with that. You should be proud of yourself for getting the help, making the right choices, trying to improve your life. So for that one person that this might reach, I would just like to let you know that you're doing the right thing. There's no shame about it. It's not weak to speak about it at all, and I'm proud of you. So there's a bit of a fun rant to start the day. It's always about positivity here in the Happy Flying. I promise you we're about to jump in and talk FPV in just a little bit. Now, some of you are saying, oh, look at this. We've got Jacob Reeves. He's saying, I'm going to talk to a therapist next week for the first time. Going to a therapist or any tips on going there? I would say it's their job. Like everything that if you are going to an experienced therapist, everything you're about to say, they have done before. Like this is not going to be new to them. They are the professional. Just trust them. They're not going to be judging you. Like their job is to help you. It's not like you're talking to your friends or your family members. And this is why I really believe, like, talking to a professional about it. This is somebody who it is their job to be an outsider. They don't have any other connections or references to your frame of life besides what you're telling them and what you're talking to them about them, and they're to help you. And if you don't tell them the truth, they're not going to be able to do their job. It's like if you bought me a drone and said, oh, Stuart, why does my drone keep falling out of the sky? And I go through everything and I try and diagnose the problem here because I'm meant to be the expert for fixing drones. But you don't tell me that your radio doesn't have any batteries in it, like back when you go back to your house. I'm like, well, of course I can't help you if you're not telling me your radio doesn't have batteries. So just be honest, talk to them. I know it can be scary, but they've done it so many times. It's their job and it's what you pay them for. So you need to make sure you get the most out of it by just being open and honest and remembering that you're doing the right thing. It is hard, but you should be proud of yourself for making those steps. Someone's saying just relax as well. Now I'm going to answer Frederick's. We're going to jump in and talk a little bit about FPV right here. But I can see Zeal's question. He says, "Hey Stu, what you got there?" Well, this coffee is from. Thank you very much for asking. Even though I asked you to ask, this is from Central Coast Coffee. They sponsor the show each week. It's actually like a sister shop to Phaser FPV, which is a store here in Australia. So if you're in Australia, go check out Central Coast Coffee. Why? Because they sponsor Stu's stream, and more importantly, they actually do make pretty good coffee. Like My wife complains now if we don't have this and we have to get coffee from the supermarket. So yeah, so if you get your own beans, you're in Australia, go check them out. You're also supporting an FPV store, sort of on the flip side as well. Okay, let's talk FPV. So we'll have a look here. I'm going to be talking about the Lightning V2 in just a little bit. But I would like to answer one of these questions that I saw. A few more people asking about the beverages. Other people just saying, tell the truth, they don't care. They've heard everything. Yes, yes. All right. Do I have any recommendations? So this is from Frederick Grimes. Before we jump in and talk about YMZ FPV, do you have any recommendations between the Deep Space Seeker 3 or the Sub 250 Oasis Fly 30? I've never even seen the Deep Space Seeker 3. Let's have a look at that together. This could be like a crazy troll. Imagine if I was actually looking at like some probe that they've sent out to like Voyager or something like that. Okay, let's have a look. This chair, man, what's going on? Let's do a bit of screen sharing. Here we go. This must be what we're looking at. Oh, that seems pretty cheap. Okay, no, let's have a look. Is there an option for DJ4, 04 Pro, no GPS? I very rarely use GPS. Okay, what do I think about this? I would like it if it came as, are they all TBS? Any ELRS? I want an ELRS 04. I guess we're going to do this one, but it also comes with GPS. Okay, 5. I'm going to guess this is American as well. What do I think of this drone? The Deep Space Seeker 3. 3-inch freestyle FPV drone. It looks a little bit chunky, if I'm honest. It's hard to sort of get a frame of reference here for just how large it is. What sort of motors do we have on here? Oh, here we go. Okay, that's a much better picture. I need it next to like a banana or something like that, or in the hand. Oh, that hand is not great either. Yeah, I really need a picture of it. Like this one against the tree branch is probably the best that we have. It looks okay. I just kind of wish that maybe if the stack was a little bit taller, and like there's a bit of wasted space here, I feel like, in the back. If you could somehow combine this on top, it's okay. What was the other one that you suggested? What would I get between this and the Sub 250 Oasis? Oh, okay, yeah, I know Sub 250. Let's get them up. I've flown that one. But we'll have to, that's the 03 version. You guys can't see what I'm looking at. Drone Shop, Oasis series. What would I get between that and this one? Wow, what is... What's the price here? Plug and play. Let's just with ELRS, 04 Pro ELRS. Here we go. 450. $450 for this 3-inch, or 480. This one has a GPS. I think I actually prefer this one. Now, I have flown this, and I can hear some people saying, oh, there's too much, like, get this stuff off the outside. That's actually there to protect your components, and I do like that. So you can notice here, this is spinning counterclockwise. Here's a little bit of technicalities here. So these motor directions are reversed, which means you're going to protect your lens. There's not going to be anything flying into your lens, but if you're cutting grass or anything, it's going to be flinging it into the inside of your flight controller, which is why they've probably put these protectors on the outside. And the part that's going to get really hot here is the VTX, but it looks like we have a little bit of ventilation there. What is it on this one? So this is also spinning the reverse, so it's heading around this way, and it'll be spitting a lot of grass in here. So they're very, very similar drones. This one looks a little bit more expensive. This one's got GPS. I never use GPS, but I actually like the idea of protecting your internals just a little bit right there to stop it getting full of grass and trees and shrubs and dirt and all that sort of stuff if you're going to crash. Maybe you're not like me, and maybe you're the perfect pilot who never crashes. Yeah, that's what I'd get, but you guys let me know what's happening. All right, the first actual part on my run sheet today, YMZ FPV. Now, if you don't know who YMZ FPV are, they make some absolutely amazing drones. My all-time favorite drone, the Lightning V2, is from YMZ FPV, and it is absolutely stellar. So that is this drone right here. And what it does incredibly well. It is cheap. It is so much fun. I get the same like sort of feeling as a 5-inch freestyle drone, just toned down just a little bit, without the scares, without the expensive batteries, like all that sort of stuff. This is an amazing little drone. And when you can put some HD stuff in there right now with like the DJI-04s, most of my flights were on the Cadex walk snail systems. This was amazing. This is like my all-time favorite drone in 10 years. Now, if we go to the YMZ FPV website, look at this. They will no longer be providing service after April 30th. Now, this is because it looks like they are rebranding, or they're becoming a different store. So Wally FPV. Now, a little while ago, this came up actually twice. So I got an email, and this is where things get a little bit strange. So I'm not too sure what is going on. I got an email from someone that said, "Hey, this is me. This company here. This is Wally FPV. I'm in charge of YMZ FPV. This is going to be the new store now." That was it. There was like no other communication. It was from a random email, and I just sort of like, okay, not too sure. I sent a message over to the guys who work at YMZ FPV, and they weren't too sure either. They're like, nah, just ignore that. So I didn't think anything of it. And then I got a message on Discord and saying, "Hey, Stu, have you heard about this?" And I was like, a little bit, without giving away too many details, but not officially. And then lo and behold, it turns out there's been a miscommunication somewhere, because there actually is a new store that's going to be popping up. I don't know why they're changing it from YMZ FPV, but I'm very excited for this. So this is the Eagle 2, the smallest 04 FPV drone. And this is like right up my alley. And the exciting part here too, they've done a little bit of work, because traditionally when we fly these really, really little craft, we put in the 04 lights, or DJI 04 lights, which are notorious for being very fragile, very breakable. It looks like here we have like 04 Pro. That's the exciting part. Now, what do they tell us actually about it in the specs? So here we can just see a bit of a render right here. But what if I told you that this was in my inbox this morning when I opened up my email from the guys, or last night? It was pretty late when I got the email from them. And we can see a little bit more details, how it's all coming together, and it looks really nice. Now, of course, it's a very chunky boy. I still feel if we're flying around on, like, it's going to be very, very fun, but it's still a very chunky thing. Like trying to get that was the problem with the Eagle, which was like a similar sized drone that was using the 03. The 03 air unit was just too big for a drone of this size. I feel like this is about the limit of having a very, very small craft with the absolute best camera that you can get in here. I'm pretty tentatively excited. Now, I've spoken to these guys a little bit in the past. I am slightly concerned about camera protection, but I like what they're doing here a little bit with these. I wish these plates just extended a little bit more. Wally FPV, if you guys are watching this, I do have some ideas on how to improve this. I like that they're coming with a dedicated antenna now, because that's something that we had to change on some of ours. I said, oh, why? Stop sending it with the ceramic antennas. I really want to send this thing a long way. So I've got an antenna in the back, but yeah, I think this is going to be a ton of fun. So expect that on the channel. I've got to write back to them, or maybe they'll see this video. 100% I'm interested in working and doing a review on this drone. Let me know too, like, what do you think about this? Is this too small? They should absolutely replace this picture Like renders are exciting and all, but with this right here. And also, it's quite interesting how the stack on the bottom is still like at a 45-degree angle, but they've put the DJI 04 on a straight axis or something, if you know what I mean. Now we've got Mystery D in the channel. I just saw a whole bunch of his chatting right here. He actually does make a really good point here. I think he's saying, why not just go slightly bigger? So they're obviously going after like the world's, like this is about as small as you can get it. But I have to agree with him here. I think this makes perfect sense on like a 3-inch. Like if that was just a little bit bigger, so we could put some larger props on the outside, even like 2.5 inch. What are these props? Let's have a look here. 40 millimeter. What is this in? 40 mil, 35 millimeters. Let's see. Propeller size. I don't know what 30. Why do we have 35 millimeters here, but 40 millimeters here? I feel like a 3-inch on this thing would be amazing. And then maybe stick to the light if you want to go that little bit small. But yeah, different horses for courses or whatever that is. I think exciting times, but I have to agree. I would probably like both options here, but I will have to wait and see how it flies. Other people saying it's smaller. My 2-inch Apex is 4S and 04 light inside, 114 grams. So that's, for me, that's way too heavy. That is actually what I like about smaller craft, is having it as light as possible. I do have a bit of information here. They recommend on flying this on a 3S. Did they put that in here? A 3S 380. That was my favorite thing about the Lightning V2, is that it flew around on a 2S pack. And that there is something like moving away from those chunkier, heavy batteries. It's just that made for some really good flight characteristics. Yes, you don't have as much power. You can get far more power out. If you have a more dense battery with more energy, you're going to be able to get a better, like, not C rating out of it, but you're going to be able to dump more power into your drive system. But I don't like the weight that comes with that. So that is probably my favorite thing. And the one change that I don't like about this is if it's flying around on 3S, we will have to see. We'll have to see how it goes, because it is going to be heavier, significantly heavier than, say, the Lightning V, this drone right here. Oh, page not found. Great. But anyway, from the Lightning V2. Wicked Drum saying they can't make up their mind. Let's have a look what other people are saying. I have a Parvo 20 trying to get to a open prop. Thank you. Dave S, it's a school bus on 13-inch tires. It looks like it when you see a monster truck with more street tires on. It does look fun though. Yeah, I agree. We'll just have to wait and see, because I know it looks chunky, but the weight difference might not be as extreme as it actually looks, because, like, how much is the 04 Pro in terms of weight? If we have a look here, what does the 04 Pro weigh? All right. I've gone to the DJI website. Well, maybe someone else can type this in for me. Let me know how much it actually weighs. Lightweight. Okay, well, tell me the weight. Okay. I don't think the difference between these two is that significant, especially if you're putting on a craft that's going to be flying around with 3S. Yeah, I can't see the weight right here. Maybe someone else can do a Google. Let me know in the chat. Alrighty. Now, the next thing I would like to talk about, and I actually am speaking about DJI, I am talking to the DJI pilots out there. This is DJI pilots moving into FPV. In the past, people haven't liked DJI pilots and they thought they're ruining the hobby because they were doing like a lot of filming. But with the latest drones coming from DJI, you are starting to see people using flying as like a recreational sort of fun experience that isn't just aimed at cinematography and looking at stuff. It's the actual flying itself. And I couldn't be more stoked. Like if you're a DJI pilot watching this and wondering, is FPV for me? The answer is yes. The difference between DJI and FPV is like it's a lot more hands-on, but you're going to have so much more control and so much more fun over your drone. Now, if I can show you this video on the screen, let's have a look. Because it's posts like this, and this is over on the DJI subreddit. If we have a look. So this person, they're flying their Avata 2, and like, check this out. If you were cruising around with this, like, this is someone who's enjoying flying. They're not doing this for filming, which is usually what DJI is after. It's crazy now to think that DJI pilots want to fly their drones like this. Now, I'm actually hoping that that clothesline takes this drone out. It doesn't. The drone does crash in just a little bit. But this person has some skills and they're starting to sort of get their mind around, oh, I didn't even know that it does this. Like, that must be the home. Did anybody else see that little H there? Yeah, that's pretty cool. You would be mistaken to think that you wouldn't be fooled if someone said, hey, is this without the OSD? It'd be very easy to wonder if they were flying around with a traditional FPV drone. So I have to say, for anybody who was watching a video like this, if you're a DJI pilot who is starting to enjoy this type of flying, having some fun with the craft, 100% FPV is for you, because the problem with DJI drones is they are not made for crashing. Like, they're all a plastic frame. It said impact detected right there. Like, they are made for doing some really, really cool filming things. But if you want to actually do this using your craft as a flight experience, FPV is the way to go. Like, if we have a look, even just having a look at a drone, we had a look at that one, or like some of these are going to be so much more robust. They're all made with carbon fiber. They're better protected. And the beauty is, if you break something on here, if you're a DJI pilot and you break a DJI drone, you probably have to send it back for repair. I don't know how much that costs. They're also probably more expensive. A little drone like this, if you break any one of these components, we have the resources, we have the knowledge online on how to fix it. It is not difficult, and the parts are relatively cheap. Like, if you broke one of these motors, you can simply reorder a motor. It might be like $12, $8, $15. I don't know how much. Like, it's just going to depend on what sort of drone that you have. And you're going to have such a better time. You're going to be able to buy cheaper batteries. Like, there is so many positives that come with flying like that for fun. If you want to do photography, stick with 9 times out of 10, stick with DJI. But I'm going to say you should jump into FPV today. This is a call for DJI pilots out there who normally, who are discovering the fun of actually just flying the drone, that little bit of skill chasing, and it feels like old school skateboarding or like riding a motorbike around. Like, it's very difficult to explain unless you've actually flown, but it's the flight experience that is incredible. Nothing can replicate that besides an FPV drone. So whether that be a freestyle drone, a racing drone, a whoop drone, like, it is so fun. Jump in today. I promise you it is going to be so much better than flying around what you're used to with a DJI drone. And a DJI drone, I would probably, just from looking at that, I give it like a 4 out of 10 in terms of like flying fun capability. You wait till you fly like a real craft, or we have perfected the design of these FPV drones. So definitely check it out. And I have to say too, welcome to the hobby. Like, it has never been a better time to jump in, especially if you have like some DJI O3 goggles or anything like that, or you could have a set of these. Whatever goggles that you're actually using, you might be able to repurpose those and use them just to build up with an FPV drone right here. Like, if this drone on the screen, guess what? It has some DJI already in it. So the camera in here, and it will bind up to these goggles. So go check it out. You will not regret it. I'm sure some other people in here as well. Like, did anybody here fly DJI in terms of a drone before they moved into drones or moved into FPV drones? How is it that you found your way into FPV, like our hobby? Was it through YouTube, or was it through like some other means? And if DJI means they're getting people enjoying flight, they're looking at their cinematography, then they're starting to enjoy flying the drones, and now they're starting to move over to building their own or buying a specific one, like you can see on the screen. That's great. The more people in the hobby, the more fun, the more people we're going to reach, and just have an awesome time. Johnny DRC is saying micros are great. Thank you very much, Frederick, for letting me know the 04 is 32 grams. All right. And we've got Crazy Rooster here saying, yeah, I started with the Phantom 3. And I'm sure, how often do you fly, Crazy Rooster? I should say it's in your name. How often do you fly now for cinematography, the style that you bought that original DJI drone for? And how much do you fly FPV for fun? Like, how much do you fly these things for fun? Because once you start this, be careful, because it's very addictive, very, very fun. We got Paul. He's in the chat as well. He's saying, love my whoops. Meteor 75 is pleasure incarnated. I believe, Paul, that you also started on some DJI drones and then moved over and found like freestyle and flying and this sort of enjoying flying for fun as well. Okay. Green Thumb, DJI and YouTube was my route into FPV. I started on a mini quad. The next purchase was a FPV ready to fly kit. And he's saying, and now Crazy Rooster is saying he never flies his old DJI drones. It's just straight FPV for fun now. Yeah, you're missing out. There's your wake up call, DJI pilots. Yeah, drones are cool. Yeah, flying around and filming stuff can be cool. It's not my cup of tea. But once you fly around like these racing and freestyle drones, it's an entirely different level. Do it today. Okay. The next part that I want to talk about, I'm just looking at the time. I've got so much. I'm going to we might come back to that. That's talking about a little bit about FPV burnout, but I would like to talk about this product. So this is the eSheen Sphere Link. And if I put this on the screen, we recently did a video about this. We've got it right here. Now, this is in Australian dollars. It's probably got some tax there, but I did see it online for around 61 or between 60 and $70. It's an open IPC video system, and this is flying, so you can connect it up to your phones. And I think you can get some when it's just a VTX. Why is that one more expensive? Okay, there's one with the receiver. Anyway, you connect it up to your drone, and it is trying to replicate using open IPC like a digital level entry. Now, why is this a big deal? Because we all want cheaper FPV. Like, I know a lot of people out there talk day and night about like you have to fly around with some of the most expensive FPV goggles out there. Like if I'm looking at these, or HD Zeros or DJI O3s, a set of high-end FPV goggles, it is quite expensive. Like these are probably $500-600. I don't know what the tariff situation is today or what it'll be tomorrow, but it can be very, very expensive. And a lot of times people don't want to fork out that much cash, so they buy analog. And that is traditionally been very cheap in the past. That's what we started with in FPV, but now we are getting this. And if you can get, I need to find the price. Let's have a look here. One core, no receiver. I swear, has this changed price since we were looking at it? Can we change this to USD, please? Let's have a look. So this is on AliExpress. Okay, $56. So there we go. So that's not talking about the receiver. What about if we had to buy the receiver as well? Okay. BTX. I think this one, right? With the VTX. What am I missing here? Oh, sorry, I'm reading this part up here instead of here. No receiver, one call with receiver. So this is about as cheap as it can get, right? So what we're looking at, you are getting a way to receive your signal, and you also have a way to transmit it. $70 is not unheard of. And if you're going to jump down and you don't need to buy the receiver every single time, like $56 sounds crazy cheap. That's for your camera and for your VTX. So VTX is this part here. That means the video transmitter. That's what's going to send the image to your goggles. Now, the problem, and I've got it built right here, is that, well, I guess it's a bit of catch-22. This the good thing about this as well, you can get it. So if you get this receiver, you can actually use your phone, and I had this phone right here. You can put that in a screen. You can actually fly using this. Do I recommend it? No. It's just not a good experience. You're much better off getting like a proper dedicated receiver for this that is like something you can plug into your goggles. But here is where I have a bit of a mystery problem, and maybe you guys can help me. So you can see I have this drone right here. I have that exact system that we're just looking on the screen. I've got my receiver on the top, and I have the camera in the front. And when we look at the actual picture, it doesn't look too bad. And when almost just scratched my monitor. I don't want to do that. Wouldn't you know it, I have a video here to play for you guys, one of my recordings. Bear with me. Like, what do you also too, like, what do you want out of cheap digital? It's never going to be as good as our DJI stuff. Here we go. Let's see if we can find this SphereLink DVR. Now, this is after a few little crashes, and I'll explain that in just a little bit. The left side of the screen looks a little bit smudged or out of focus, but you can see the clarity on the right-hand side right here. So this is recorded straight off the phone that this was streaming to. And like, if we look at these trees and these bushes up right here, it's not too bad. Significantly better than analog. Probably might need to refocus. Like, look at up here, looks great, right? It's getting blown out a little bit by the sun. And if we look at this palm tree or some of these, this is next door neighbor's bamboo trees right here. Like, that's pretty good. I realize I'm out of focus here, so I don't know if that's a smudge on the lens or if something is misaligned. That is pretty decent for a bare bones budget digital system. Now, it's probably going to be even better if we had a dedicated recording unit. Now, what I actually do here, I walk around the house. So this is like a fair bit of a trek, trying to test the penetration and the range, and it's very, very clear. This is more than flyable, and I didn't notice too much latency either, even though I was flying through my phone. But can somebody tell me, why is it that as soon as I armed my drone and actually went to fly, I could never do a good flight? The video would just freeze and it would just stop. Now, I thought maybe there's some sort of interference here with like the two power systems, because I was powering everything off my battery here, my main drone battery. So I was like, you know what? Eventually we got to the part where like, let's just power it off an entirely different system, an entirely different battery, so it doesn't get any interference. I'm still getting the same problem, and it really has made me excited. And hear me out here. I know this is going to sound counterintuitive. I have never been more excited for some cheap FPV, because this looks okay. Like, this looks fine. If we can work out those bugs, I don't know if it's like some shielding. I don't know if you have an idea of why isn't that working when I arm the drone. Why is it I can walk around the house and transmit that power, but as soon as I arm the drone, something changes? I don't know. Are we getting any noise from the motors spooling up, or I actually am a little bit stumped. Maybe I need Bardwell or Madtex or somebody here to help me explain what's going on. But just looking at this is great. This is exciting. And for people who want to jump in, they don't want to break the bank, they don't want to buy DJI, I think that OpenIPC really has a shot here. What they are doing, they are not offering the quality of DJI. They're not offering any of the fancy features so far that come with some of the other systems like HC0. They're not offering things like repeaters or extreme long ranges with CADX. But what they are doing is offering a way for people to have a choice that isn't analog. And it's open source, which means other companies are going to be developing it. And from these early days, I feel like OpenIPC is here to stay. I'm going to say it right now. OpenIPC is definitely here to stay. They're doing some cool things. The project has come along now that if they can solve a couple of these issues, and maybe RunCam has done that, because we're going to be talking about that in just a little bit as well, I'm super excited. Because what would you get if you were coming into the hobby today and you had the choice between analog or video that looked like this? What would you get? Because they're going to be a very, very comparative price. I can't say that word correctly. And also it's going to get people, if you would like to fly through your phone, everybody has a smartphone. They're going, most people, not my dad, but most people will be able to do that and fly that. So I think it's really, really exciting. And then look, maybe they will buy a DJI in the future. Maybe they'll get CADX. Maybe they'll get HD0. I don't know. But the important part is that they have options, and I feel like this is a real option. Now, I have seen some other reviews where people weren't having any interference. They were flying around correctly. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I did just get a faulty unit. I'm not too sure. I mean, for $60 or $56, whatever it was, it's insanely cheap, especially if you tried to part this out and you I don't like this website. Does this change price? No. If you were trying to buy a receiver, not a receiver, if you're trying to buy a VTX and a camera, like $56 is like nothing in terms of comparative. Yes, you can get some very, very cheap analog ones, but a high quality analog VTX and an analog camera is going to be more expensive than this anyway. All right. Now, the next thing, though, that brings us on to this. So this one I'm actually pretty excited for. Let's turn this to USD. What do we got on this one? So this is just a little bit more expensive. So where the other one was $60, so this one's the Wi-Fi link. This is using OpenIPC again. This is from RunCam. I'm really excited to try this one out. So I actually have a unit right here that we have. Oh, where are we? So we've got the little unit right here. I'm going to be putting that into a system this week. The problem is, though, I don't want to fly that with my phone. I feel like maybe that's like the cheapest solution that we can, but I want to get a little, like a RunCam. You can get a unit that simply connects through HDMI, or it has a HDMI out. You connect it up to your goggles, and then you can strap it to the front. I'll probably use these goggles right here. Then I'll be able to fly around with this and just see how well does OpenIPC go. RunCam's been in the game for a long time. They usually do things to a more high quality standard than, say, this. Like, this is bare bones budget, not very much refinement. Have a look at this on the screen. Like, just even the size of the actual unit itself, the size of the camera looks smaller. It's I don't know, it's just exciting times, man. I'm telling you, this is very, very good for people who don't want to fork out tons and tons of cash to have a system like this. And you're also not locked into any one ecosystem. It's like OpenIPC. And I really hope that, because, does it say it comes with, where is this thing? Here we go. The Wi-Fi link. I need to get one of these, but I think they're all out of stock around a lot of places. I thought I had one of these. If somebody can let me know, like, did I ever hold this up on review on the stream? Because I thought I had one. I've looked everywhere. I can't seem to find it. But yeah, we can connect this up to our goggles. And then we're going to be able to get that nice juicy image that we saw, that is hopefully going to look a little bit better. Now, it's not going to be perfect. We still have some places to go. But what do you guys think? Like, would you fly this? Let me know. Would you choose this system on what you've seen, or would you choose your first analog system? Reliability is going to be the big one, actually. And the reason why I think that I'm hopeful is because I was able to walk around the house and still get that image penetration. So that wasn't the problem. For me, there was some other interference that was coming from my drone that I need to figure out. Johnny DRC, he's saying he's going to get analog. He's talking about the little bit of lag. Yeah, I didn't feel too much. And I can probably compare this. It's not the same system, but to the Edge T3 system. I flew that even looking at my computer. I didn't notice that much of a lag, but I'm not latency sensitive as well. If you fly HD0, 100% you're gonna be feeling it, but you already have a system anyway, so I don't know why you'd be going out and getting this one. Spruny, he's gonna say, yeah, he's still gonna take analog. And Wicked Drums, couldn't they just throw the big receiver inside some goggles? I wonder if they'll make some goggles eventually. The problem is, like, that's all expense, right? This is made for people who want HDMI in, or they want another way to get into the system. And this is a budget system, and I can understand from a marketing point of view of like, hey, we're going to make something really, really cheap. Let's not put it in some expensive goggles. Let's just give people the cheapest way to be able to do that. Now, whether that be through a little adapter that you can connect up to your phone, like this. Where are we? Or whether that be getting something like you can see on the screen right here. I mean, maybe they will do that. It just might need a critical mass of consumers who are using OpenIPC first before they say, oh, let's now offer it with some goggles. It's not a terrible idea. I just can understand why they've gone the cheaper way first. So you're saying hands down OpenIPC, analog is fine, but who doesn't want HD? That looks like my walk snail module. Yeah, very, very, very similar sort of stuff going on here. Crazy Rooster, probably a good option for tossing in a bigger quad for learning tricks and stuff, save smashing an 04 or a walk snail camera. My thing there to say is you don't want to buy different systems. Like, I feel like this might be good enough in the future. I'm going to wait till I'm going to reserve my judgment until I fly this Wi-Fi link from RunCam with a dedicated receiver. I am hoping that this is good enough that we don't have to upgrade in the future. Like, you don't have to go out and be like, yeah, I'm going to now switch to DJI, or I'm going to switch to CADX. I hope that this is good enough where users can enjoy flying and not feeling like they're missing out. It is the same way of like, if I'm flying around on my CADX system, would I feel the need to then upgrade to DJI? And the answer is no. Even Stickman Steve, when he flies all the time, he's heavily into CADX and that ecosystem. He agrees that DJI does look better, but he's not going to be getting that much extra out of switching over to them. So it doesn't make financial sense to do that, right? And I hope that we can also get to the same point with OpenIPC, where those budget people can come in and say, hey, this is a great way to try digital FPV. It's not going to be the best of the best, but it's good enough and it suits my financial situation where I still get to enjoy it and I'm not missing out too much. I don't have all the bells and whistles, but we still have an amazing experience. And I think OpenIPC really is here to stay. Wait till I test it. I could be eating my words there. All right. Fair enough. With more pilots investing into it, their tech and user experience will improve. Yeah. And look, if there's the exciting part too, there's money. There's money there that's going to drive that innovation. So even though it's open source, people are still going to be making these products and developing their own things that they run on, and having that hardware there for people to buy from you. If you're making a nice little unit like this that's well thought out, that you can connect, that's where that's where the customers are going to come from, and that's going to make innovation happen. And innovation doesn't just happen usually when things are free and open source. There needs to be a big incentive for people, and especially for companies. And what are companies? What do they like? They like dollars. So they're going to be working to do that. That's their incentive. Yeah, it's nice if you can improve FPV, but they're not going to do that in their free time, off their own backs. Like, they're running a company, they've got employees to pay. So, it's very rare you find a situation where it's like, especially if you're manufacturing something like this on the screen, that you're doing this just for the goodness of your heart because you love the hobby. These, like RunCam, it's a company. It wants to make dollars. Let's see. Troran saying, I started with the 04 Lite and already broke and am broke already. If I had to start over, I'd go for analog. Yeah, there is definitely a cost for like a day-to-day running cost of FPV. And the 04 Lite is actually probably one of the most fragile design boards. I don't mind the picture of the 04 Lite. I just don't like the camera mount or the board. Yeah, but I look, at least you still got the goggles, right? Like, it's not too much of a stretch now that you're already in there. I think you'll still have a lot of fun. It also depends on your income as well. Like, you need to have those sort of repair costs. Now, I'm only like halfway through here. So I'm going to answer these questions because I'm just looking at the time. Hopefully you guys are having an awesome time wherever you are in the world. If you've got some questions, now is the time to throw them down below. If you want to know anything about any new products or some tips, just put it there. We'll try to answer that towards the end of the stream. I would like to talk about this right now, which if I go over to YMZ FPV, if you don't know, the world's greatest drone website. This is where this is interesting actually, talking about like innovation and companies developing something because they're usually financially motivated. And it is very rare to find a project where people just do it because they love the hobby. Well, here's the other end of that rule. Here we are developing DIY FPV for you guys. Like this is purely my way to give back to the FPV community. I love FPV. I've been doing this for 10 years and that's why I can still work on this website. Even though there's like, we've never been paid or anything like that for this website. It's cost us money to make this website, but it is a passion project because we love the hobby. We want to get other people flying. Now, what I'm going to do, I have a beginner question that I would like to answer actually. Let's see. It was this right here. So another flight controller question, but I want to confirm, and it's so much easier for me to answer these on stream as well. If you ever have a question, please head over to DIY FPV. If this isn't actually live, you can type it in right now. But if you ever want something else answered, head over here, put it in, make a post in beginner questions, or you can put it over in troubleshoot as well. And then we might be able to answer it on the following stream. But my new flight controller came with motor plugs, and I was hoping to use it as my new motors have compatible connectors as well. I believe these smaller pads are arrows, where the arrows are pointing are sets for the motor plugs. Is this correct? The flight controller diagram does not mention these at all. Now, when I looked at this, there's two things. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to answer this question. But number two, I think I'm just going to give I'm going to give some thoughts into here, some expertise, and maybe you can help me in the chat if you know. I believe what he's pointing to here may be a motor connection. However, I think these right here, this is where I would be soldering my motors to. So who is this? Mr. E. Lee 12. I would be connecting my motors up to these wires, these ports right here. So this is probably motor 1, motor 2, motor 3, and motor 4 across the front. Now, these also might be the same pads. These might be the same connections, and those traces are actually connected. So you might be able to connect them up to here. This is just going to be easier though. Now, if you want to put your little motor plugs in, you can probably solder them straight through here. Personally, I say get rid of the plugs. I just prefer flying around like with direct solder. But yeah, someone's saying looks like a motor plug option. Yeah, what do you think? Do you think that these plugs or these, or are they the same? Put that in the chat. I would like to know as well. I believe that what he's pointing to, he can solder to, but you're better off soldering to these. You've just got more room here. Like this is a pretty small connection if you're trying to do that. Why people are letting me know. Wicked Drums. I remember when HD0 had that huge receiver and everyone was skeptical about it. Look now where we are today. I'll give Open IPC some time to work out the kinks. Yeah, I think we're talking about this receiver right here. That's... Oh, why am I holding the cord? Yeah, so this is sort of like the RunCam Wi-Fi link. This is what I was talking about when I talk about a module that goes on the front of your goggles. I feel like bot grinder right here. Someone's saying use a multimeter to verify plugs versus soldered. Yeah, what's going on, H&R Drone Racing? Thanks for tuning in to the stream. We're just answering this question and finding out. Yeah, that'd be the way to test it if you have a connection between here using your multimeter. But yeah, that's my little tip. For anybody else, if you ever have a question, or if you would like to head over, DIY FPV, that's where it's at. And I also, the $1 Sky Zones, I have a whole bunch of messages to respond to, but I did send a message to the person who was like, hey, would you like to buy these? And they said yes. So if that is you, or you haven't checked your inbox, go do that now, please, or after this stream. Tiny Woot plugs, toothpick, solder. Yeah, okay. I guess it depends how much weight you want to have as well. So it depends really how much you're into your build. He doesn't say what drone he's using though as well, which that might help. Like what sort of motors is he connecting this up to? Thanks, man. All right. The last thing actually that I probably want to talk about is I saw somebody asked me, I can't remember where it is actually, like, hey Stu, should I get this kit? And they sent me this link. Let's see if we can find this. And it wasn't great. We do a bit of a Google. Here we go. So I can't believe this. If we jump over here, someone said, hey Stu, is this a good kit to buy? And they sent me this. This is over on Rotor Riot. And if you don't know who Rotor Riot is, they used to be really cool back in the like 10 years ago in FPV. Nowadays, they're sort of selling kits like this. And this is where I get a little bit upset. If I look at the prices, they're like the stuff that they are selling here. I'm just flat out going to say no. Do not buy this kit. Even though it looks fancy and the pictures look nice and they do like some things of like production and making it look like this is where the hobby is at, this is not a good purchase. So what we're selling here, we have some like these goggles. Look at the price of this, right? $1,200. Oh, actually, no, that's wrong. This is the one. These are these right here, I believe. Fat Shark Recon HD, Fat Shark Dominator HD. Okay. So this is some Avatar V1 goggles, and then they released the Avatar X. So this is very, very old. This is a very, very old pair of goggles. You've got a drone, which admittedly is probably the best piece of this. You've got a TX12, which is one of the cheaper radios on the market, and a pretty dodgy charger. Look at the price, $1,400. Do not buy this kit. I cannot stress that enough. Rotor Riot right now is selling some extremely overpriced old gear. They're taking advantage of people who don't have the knowledge to say, hey, is this good? What else can I get for this price? Like people saying in the chat, yikes, this is expensive. You can do such, I would prefer, like, just do some homework, please. This is going to make people really, really upset because they're going to get in trouble. You are going to have a decent experience with this, but it needs to be like half the price in order. I'm like, if someone said this is $700, I would say, okay, like fair enough. But for them to put this here is just like, and look, it's got a lead time. So they're actually putting this together and building it. If that shouldn't be happening. So I could understand maybe if they had some old stock and they're just trying to put it all together and sell that, like they've made a bunch of these drones, but no, don't do it, please. Yeah, something's gone wrong there where Rotor Riot, I feel like now is just taking advantage of people who don't have the correct information and is the exact opposite of what I want people in the hobby to be doing. I want them to be more informed. I want them to make the best decisions that they can. And if a kid comes along and saves up $1,400 to buy something like this, it's just a little bit heartbreaking for me. So I feel like that's a big letdown for that to happen. Someone's saying my DJI setup is much cheaper than this setup. Yeah, so someone else is saying 533 has some really good prices right now. Yeah, and then I guess that leads me on. That's why I also built this website here, YFPV. If you want to find out what something costs, you can head over here. Like, let's have a look. Their radios. What was their radio? It was let's see, the TX12. Let's search that here. Oh, it already did it for me. It's like a $90 radio. $107 if you're heading over to somewhere in the US. So here we go. We've got 533. It's all about the same price. $110, give or take. A couple of dollars, but that's why we built this website too. So you can have a look here and say, hey, how much is something worth? What am I paying for? Now, even if you got, so let's say $100, We're gonna price this out ourselves right now. Thanks, Johnny DRC. What was it? Let's go the goggles X. We're going to put in the most expensive goggles that we've got here. Right? So this is Canadian. We're just going to go US, right? 550 plus our radio that we just had. What's that? 670. And then we're going to let's find a drone. So we're up to $670. Now remember, this is $1,400. Help me find a decent drone, because look, that probably does look like a custom built drone. So we're not going budget. We're getting like the most expensive ones that are comparable. Let's go 5-inch. iFlight makes some really, really cool stuff. I don't know, pick one of these guys. We also want one that's probably like we need one that's got avatar, like walk snail in here. Wonder if these have very different options. Like if I have a look here, oh, it's different. Let's look for walk snail, a walk snail drone. I'm sort of trying to search two things at once here. Oh, there we go. So this is out of stock, right? But we can get the idea. How much was one of these? Ah, it doesn't tell us because it's out of stock. Why am I zoomed in so much? That's better. Okay, well, let's... out of stock, out of stock. Walk snail is probably becoming more and more difficult too. Like, that's another thing. If you are buying that kit, you're going to be purchasing something that's getting more and more tricky. Okay, here we go. Look at this. Okay, $700. Now that's, what is this build? Let's have a look. So I'd say this is pretty comparable, like a high end. I'm definitely sure you could probably find some other drone build that's significantly cheaper for a 5-inch. But maybe I'm proving their point for them right here. Here we go. This will do. So we've got one here for 500, although it's a little bit smaller. So I'm going to say about $600, right? That is still so much cheaper. Plus, you're getting better goggles than what you are going to get with this. This is just, I don't know. It's just wrong. I don't recommend anybody purchasing this kit right here. So yeah, there you go. If you are looking to buy something, don't go and buy this kit. There you go. To the person who wrote me that email and said, "Hey Stu," or message, whatever, should I get this? The answer is no. The Dominator V1s are super expensive. Goggle X's are usually cheaper. Yeah, you're going to get a better radio. You're going to get a newer set of goggles. That even these, you're going to get a pair of these goggles, which are even newer than what you can send through. Even these feel odd. You could even go DJI. That's actually probably what we should look at. That's going to be a better comparative thing. Okay, let's go. Let's do this again, but have a look at DJI. So let's have a look. Why am I in frames? How much do you think that I can get a DJI goggles 3, a 04 drone, and a radio for? It's an 03. Now, a lot of these versions are going to be the ones that don't. How much is it with? Plug and play, $700. Okay. Maybe it's not so bad. Maybe I'm wrong here. Am I in the wrong? No, it's the children who are wrong. Let's have a look. It's with an 03. I don't know if they're going to be more expensive if we're going to go 04. 04 Pro. Okay. This feels better. Out of stock, out of stock, out of stock. Okay, let's have a look at Rotor Village. Here we go. Canadian. We want it in USD. $450. Okay. So 450 plus how much are goggles through? And these are going to be expensive. I don't think there's many in the States, actually. Everybody's probably purchased them in the States. I still think no matter how we did it, we're not going to come up anywhere near. We would be able to build such a better system than this. The money is probably paying someone to build this drone here out of arguably some just fancy shiny looking motors. All right. I think, guys, I'm going to say thank you very much for tuning in. I kind of thought it is kind of rough in the US right now. Everything is going up in price or is out of stock. Yeah, this is the problem where it's so expensive to import parts. Heaps of people bought things before the tariffs took effect. So there's a bit of a lull where all the stock is gone. No new stock is filling those because importers don't know what price they're going to have to pay when it actually gets to customs. And China just doesn't want to take there's a lot of risks of saying, hey, if we send this over here, we're not too sure what it's going to be like. So there has definitely been a lot of issues for a lot of store owners. I really feel like I feel like the stores, the vendors, and the community over in the States is really in a tricky place trying to navigate, and they just want to get flying. Let's see. DJI for 2 controllers, batteries, $500. Just the avocado kit with goggles. And I'm going to answer this last question by Simmer. Jack, what are your thoughts on this drone? That's a lot of, let me type that in. RSC 250 combo. Okay. We're at the other end here, guys. Look at this. What do I think about this? Oh, man. No. Don't do it. Don't. You're not going to have a good experience. Get it. This radio. It's crazy old. It's flying around on FlySky, which is a different protocol. You should be getting ELRS. Radio Master Pocket, I cannot stress enough, is a great budget entry option that is going to serve you for the life of your hobby. It is crazy to get a product that is so good and so cheap that you don't need to upgrade. So I would recommend that. The EV800Ds, I don't like these goggles. I have never liked those goggles. I feel like I get eye strain from them. Other people have recommended them, but then that's not their daily driver. They don't fly with them enough. Like, they're great to look at for a little bit, like, oh, these kind of work. But if you actually have to fly these pack after pack after pack after pack, you're going to get a headache. You're going to feel cross-eyed, in my experience, and everybody else who I've personally seen flying these goggles. And the drone itself, it's like the camera. I can tell the camera looks incredibly cheap. Like, don't. You're much better off to get, I don't know, like, I know $300, right? But the radio you're going to be throwing out, the goggles I don't like, and I just don't think you're going to have a good time. It doesn't mean it's going to be terrible, because I can't argue with that price there, right? $300, but we sort of had these kits available 8 years ago. This could have been 8 years ago. Somebody could have released this and it might have been okay then. Nowadays, I would recommend people save up a little bit more and just get a Radio Master Pocket and a Whoop. Like, this drone, none of this kit is quality right here looking at this. I would not get this. I'm sorry to say there, Simmer Jack. Just don't. I'm only saying that because I care about you having a great flight experience and a great journey into FPV. And sometimes you can give somebody an experience that's going to turn them off. And that is what this kit is going to do. You're much better off just getting a little whoop. Like probably the strongest part of this is the goggles. And you just heard me say how much I don't like them. So you'd be better off getting a Radio Master Pocket, getting a whoop to fly around with, and then a pair of EV800Ds. That's going to be a better flight experience than this radio on this drone. I don't trust that. It's not worth it. Not worth it, my friend. Plus, whoop batteries are a lot cheaper. Like this doesn't come with a battery as well. You're going to be paying more money for the battery. So if you are really scraping together trying to get the $300, you can have more spares and more things to purchase with that. All right. Mr. J is saying it's a shame what has become of Rotor Riot. They were what a whole lot of us old heads used to watch and get pumped before a flight. Yeah, Rotor Riot has definitely changed for the worse. They did some really, really cool stuff. Before it was a financial machine, it was just about having fun and flying, and yeah, it's very different. I actually feel sorry for the Rotor Riot people who try to the workers there, like what's his name? Is it Bobby or someone does some like really cool tricks, like this teenager who's just putting out some cool videos. Like they still love FPV, but they're just working for the machine of financial stall and funding. So nothing against the people who actually like those kids trying to make cool content to keep people excited, because that's like what a lot of us grew up watching. I don't know. Now they just work for now it's like Rotor Riot is not cool. Rotor Riot is just corporate FPV. All right. Bruni's saying I found the EV800DMs better. Never got cross-eyed or anything, but the N3s are on the way. Yeah, you're going to love that. Bubby FPV. Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I don't watch too many Rotor Riot videos anymore. I don't know what's going on with this sunlight in the background. Just like second star out the back shining through here. All right. The last thing I would like to mention, though, and this is probably the most important part, we finish the stream every time by saying thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. You are valued. You are cared about. And even if this is just reaching that one person, and you heard me say it this week, but you heard me say it last week, but today I'm talking to you and it is getting through to you. I want to say that you are valued. You are cared about. You are special. And thank you. Truly, thank you for being here. This is the best part of my working week, connecting with you. And I hope that you got something out of it. And I just want you to feel special and valued and like you belong somewhere, because I'm very appreciative of you being here. I would like to say thank you. Other than that, guys, subscribe for more FPV related content, and I will see you next week. Now I'm going to finish my coffee actually, and then I need to try to track down like a RunCam Wi-Fi link receiver so I can get to work on this video for OpenIPC. That's what I'm excited about. You guys are absolutely amazing, and I will see you all next week.